You may have heard of Neanderthals. You may have heard of Lucy, the Australopithecus specimen from Africa. But what if I told you there's a region where multiple ancient hominins thrived, and it's largely unknown of? Welcome to Southeast Asia, the lost cradle of hominin diversity. From the mysterious dragon man of China, to hobbits that lived in Java, to ancient pioneers who may have beaten us, to Asia by over 1 million years. This is a riveting story of exploration, survival, and a lot of interspecies mingling. Before we move on, please like and subscribe. Let's start with the trailblazers, Homo erectus. These guys did not like sitting still. They were go-getters and great explorers of the ancient day. The earliest fossil evidence of Homo erectus comes from South Africa around 2 million years ago, and the earliest out of Africa evidence for them pops up in Georgia about 1.8 million years ago. In China, we find them living their best lives about 1.7 to 1.6 million years ago, and they seem to have survived in China until around 0.3 million years ago. But they did not stop there. Oh no, they made it to Java, chilling there from around 1.5 million years ago, and recent fossil evidence suggests that they survived in Java until about 108,000 years ago. And this would put them in a time frame where they could have interacted with ancient humans of Southeast Asia, but we'll get there later in the video. Now, that's all cool, but what if I told you some of their descendants were tiny, mysterious, and potentially really good at climbing trees? Let's talk about the short kings of the hominin world. Meet Homo floresiensis, discovered on Flores Island, east of Java. These guys were about 1 meter tall, that's 3 foot 3 inches. Their cranial capacity was about 426 cubic centimeters, roughly the same size as a modern chimpanzee. Scientists believe they diverged from Homo erectus and went through island dwarfism, where smaller bodies would be evolutionary advantageous in low-calorie environments. Fossil evidence suggests they ranged from 700,000 to 60,000 years ago. However, stone tools have also been found to date back to over 1 million years ago. Were these stone tools from ancient Floresiensis species, or another hominin? Now we move to the newest member of the hominin family, Homo Luzonensis, found in Calo Cave of Luzon Island in the Philippines, and its addition as a true hominin was in 2019. This is possibly another Homo erectus offshoot. They had tiny molars like Floresiensis, but limbs that looked more like Australopithecus. In a sense, they were probably very agile climbers. The fossil we do have of Homo luzonensis dates back to 134,000 years ago, but without a second sight, we cannot gauge a range of time they lived in. Other evidence suggests they, or someone else, lived in the island 700,000 years ago. We are still waiting on DNA though. For now, they are a mysterious cousin we don't know too much about. Now, here's the part during the research I really didn't get. How did they get there? Over the last 2 million years, sea levels dropped by as much as 120 meters. This created a land bridge known as Sundaland, which connected southern China to islands such as Borneo, Java, and Sumatra. This allowed for crossing of animals, plants, and early human species, such as Homo erectus. And during interglacial periods, such as now, the rising sea levels would submerge these connections, isolating these islands and their biodiversity. However, no such land bridges existed 2 million years ago which connected to the Philippines. So, how did the ancestors of Homo luzonensis get there? The answer might be that they rafted there, or were accidentally blown across to the Philippines. Imagine that, small hominins over 1 million years ago rafting across an unknown sea. We can't skip Denisovans, the ultimate mystery hominin. We have barely seen their bones, yet they haunt our DNA. Denisovans and Neanderthals diverge around 400,000 years ago, and the last common ancestor of Neanderthals and Denisovans split up with Homo sapiens around 500 to 700,000 years ago. But without many fossils, they have left their mark on this world, in us. The native peoples of Melanesia, the Philippines, and Australia carry up to 5% of Denisovan DNA. And this is not from a one-night stand. It's more like a genetic situationship that we shared with Denisovans multiple times. DNA studies show at least 3 major introgression events. Introgression is the fancy word for, anyways. And there wasn't just one Denisovan group. There were at least 4 distinct populations, each with their own quirks. And it's thought that each of these distinct populations were quite friendly with our ancient ancestors. And it's not just us. Denisovans are known to have interbred with Neanderthals and possibly even Homo erectus. They were a very friendly bunch. Overall, the genetics of the Denisovans is beginning to tell a story that we will hopefully one day understand. Moving on, we have some newly proposed hominin species, such as the Dragon Man, aka Homo longi, first proposed in 2021. Fossil evidence of the Dragon Man has been proposed from several sites in China, but the jury is out. There is no DNA evidence yet, and morphological evidence suggests it might be Denisovan instead. There's also Homo juliensis, newly named in 2024, and this one also looks like it might be a Denisovan based on its morphology, or possibly even a hybrid of Denisovan and Homo sapien. And overall, until we get genetic data, it's speculation city for these newly proposed hominin species. Finally, let's end it with us, Homo sapiens. Our current best estimate is that our ancestors originated in Africa around 300,000 years ago, and the earliest evidence out of Africa comes from Greece, around 210,000 years ago. But those earlier waves of Homo sapien, they were probably wiped out or replaced by later migrations. While there is plenty of evidence of Homo sapien activity in China from over 100,000 years ago, modern humans which we descended from reached China around 42,000 years ago, and they made it to the Philippines and Borneo and other islands around this time too. So, overall, we note that Homo sapiens got very friendly with Denisovans multiple times, but we don't know if our ancient ancestors met and mingled with Floresiensis, Luzonensis, or surviving Erectus species. This is because earlier variants of Homo sapiens who ventured out of Africa prior to 55,000 years ago largely went extinct. We never got their DNA, so their stories are lost to time. So there you go, that's the crash course of the chaotic, romantic and mysterious hominin story of Southeast Asia. We've got hobbits, dragons, possibly, and a lot of introgression. And who knows what else will be found there. Southeast Asia has not been as well explored as Europe and Africa when it comes to hominin species. Well, anyways, thanks for joining this week's Scientific Journal Club. See you next time for more science.